be a part of Sunset Boulevard.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It is time to rediscover the happy place. We are full swing on this, and we have got a very, very special treat for you today. One of the greatest things that we've got going on is that we have a brand new friend to the program, Miss Jana Lynn, and she's going to be starting our show here in a couple minutes with a couple minutes of a comedy program that she does. She is a comedian. She is a musician who has joined the Community Pay It Forward family, which we're so extremely excited about that. She's joined us in many different ways. She's also a mission partner because we're going to help her get this comedy thing up off the ground and running. Plus, she's going to be taking and helping us quite a bit within the company itself. She's going to be one of our California liaisons, and we are so excited about that. We want to go ahead and bring up a couple things that we learned the other night, that we learned from two of our other interviews, one with Mr. Brian Gibson, one with Daria Mann. We're going to keep track of everything that are the kind of important notes. And let me preface this by saying everything that is said is an important note. So me picking out one or two things, that's just kind of me. Those are things that I find really something that we need to focus on. The first one was said by Brian. We learned in the Brian Gibson interview, and it's very simply that it's not just the individual with mental difficulties. It's the families. We cannot cure mental illness just concentrating on one person. We got to make sure that we get together and we treat everyone the same. Everyone in the family. Everyone's being affected by this. Okay, the house doesn't blow down, and that's just not dad's problem or mom's problem. That's everybody's problem. Well, this is kind of what's going on. They have difficulties within their lives. You know what? It's something that they all suffer with. So let's make sure that we don't think that this is a one-person problem. We got to watch the whole family. Our second guest, Daria Mann, one of our great partners from Metro Denver Hypnotherapy and Family Therapy. She brought up, when I asked her the question, what is the first thing that you should do when you want to sit down and listen to somebody? And her answer to that was very simply, breathe. That's the first thing that you got to do. Make sure that you take in that deep cleansing breath that they always talk about. You take and you breathe it in, because you know what? You're going to hear some things that aren't that comfortable. But it's not comfortable for them either, and that's the reason why it's a problem to them. When you take in this breath and you take in that cleansing breath, and you take and you ready yourself for it, you steady yourself for it a little bit, you know that guess what? We're sitting here. I can take this in, but not take it on. That's another thing that she said. Take it in, don't take it on. Okay? Don't let yourself become that problem. Take it in, don't take it on. Then we asked, what do you do? What's the first thing that you tell somebody who's experiencing a difficult problem? And that was very simply, let it go. Let go of the anger, let go of the guilt, let go of the pressure of what you're carrying. Remember, you are not alone. You're never alone. Very rarely, and this has to do with thousands of years of evolution. Very rarely are you the first one to experience a difficulty. Does that make it any easier? No, it does not. Is yours unique? Of course it is. There's only one of you, so it's going to be unique. So the experience that you've got is going to be a little bit different, but just remember, there are people who have dealt with it before, and if we need to find somebody who has dealt with these things prior to you, we can help you out with that. That's what all this is about. This is about trying to find different ways to overcome mental illness. We're going to be, as I mentioned, we're going to be introducing in just a second Jana Lynn. She's going to give us a performance, a little bit of a comedy performance. We're going to talk to her about what she does, which is, you know, she entertains people. She helps people not feel so shut in and shut out. So it's a great thing. Then we're going to be talking with Mr. Bill Willis and David Patrick uh, from a conversation we had the other day. And then we're going to listen to an interview that I personally I think I had too much fun on it, but it's a good time with Mr. Mike Van Pelt. It was a really good time. It was a great interview, and he's a great friend of mine. We've had a couple conversations, and we've had a great time. So, but we're not here to listen to me spew words. We're here to try to find ways around mental illness. So it's time that I bring on my guest. She's brand new to Community Pay It Forward, brand new to the Community Pay It Forward program, and one of our brand new mission partners, along with being our California liaison, Miss Jana Lynn. How's it going, Jana?
Oh, excellent. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Yeah, you've been bouncing around in the green room trying to find that perfect place, haven't you?
I found it. Thank goodness.
So, well, you're going to do us a favor and you're going to give us a little bit of your comedy. So, you know what? It's all yours.
All right. Awesome. So, dad jokes are okay, right? But mom jokes are so much better. Isn't it apparent?
Uh,
um,
uh,
so let's see. There's oh, okay. So, when you go through a divorce, it's not so much fun. And when you give alimony, that money is actually called for your ex partner. It's aggressive. Let's see, passive aggressive income. Sorry, that. I tell the punchlines first. It's really hard to be a dyslexic comic. So there's a funny thing called well, I do a parody on Jurassic Park. So it's regarding Blue, the Velociraptor. Yeah, she's no joke. So she'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Uh-oh. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Oh boy. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Watch out for Blue. Hey, Blue. So I
somebody to get crunched there in the end.
well, and I don't. Yeah, chomp chomp, right? Well, I don't know if you like Dunder Mifflin or know who that is. That's actually a company, paper company. Yeah. So this is from The Office. Choose Dwight. If him or Jim is placed before you, he's the right person to go for paper. Choose Dwight, future Dwight. He'll fax you incessantly. Choose Dwight, future Dwight, and you'll end up so very happy. Then I have one about Sherlock Holmes, so we'll do that one. Holmes saves the day. Moriarty couldn't get in his way. Watson helps him out, and Miss Hudson sits and pouts, for she saw yin and yang get away. Holmes is the man whose stratagem is always the best plan. He loves to collude, especially when he acts rude, for he works best as an unhealthy dude. Thank you. I'm Jana Lynn. You can find me at Piano Lady 1 on Facebook if you look for people. because I'm a person. That's it. There you go.
Yep. So, how long have you been doing this?
3 years
3 years. And
about.
what got you into wanting to and you run strictly clean comedy?
Only clean, yes. Squeaky clean. So, um, I got into comedy when I was working at Apple as a contractor, and it was really fun. Every week, I would come up with a new joke, and so it was Jana Funny of the week, and they were like, "Those are pretty good, actually. You should write them down." So I started writing them down, and I went to a comedy club, and I was like, I was just gonna go for the open mic, but not actually do my comedy. But then it turned out it was more economically, fiscally financial. I don't know, better to actually be a comic than to be in the audience. It was half the price, $5 instead of 10. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. So I just started 3 years ago, and now here I am.
What are some of the places that you like to what are some of the venues that you like to go and perform at?
So I first performed at Tommy T's. That's in Pleasanton, in the Bay Area, East Bay, and I've done a lot of that. They have a lot of open mics. I've also done San Francisco and Castro Valley. Also down south, I've done one show at um, the Comedy Chateau in LA, and I love doing retirement homes and helping those who are shut in. I just feel such a need to uplift their lives and give them something fun to have experienced.
When we first talked yesterday, when you came across and we started talking about how important that was to you, you got very emotional. You
Mm.
understand what it's like to be in a position where you feel like things aren't working for you. I'm just going to try to keep it keep it straight here. You know what it's like to feel like things are working against you, and you feel like you don't have much hope.
Hmm.
Why is the importance of doing stuff like retirement homes, churches, stuff like that? Why do you get such a inspiration, a personal love for doing that?
Basically, I love the people, and I'm also becoming a teacher soon, I hope. So I love children as well as the elderly. The middle people are pretty cool too, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just have a real heart for those innocent sides of the spectrum. Um, and I've actually been homeless before ish, kind of. I had a camper van the whole time, but sometimes we didn't have a space to rent. And so we would go live on C Street, which is California Street in Ventura. And we were there for like a month. Um, and so I understand how the pandemic, as well as life situations, can affect you. So I've been divorced and I didn't get a drop of money from my ex, and I'm still trying to get something from him. There wasn't much money there, it was mainly debt. So it's interesting to go from a or not 3 story, 3 bedroom house with 2 baths and go to a boat first because I lived on a boat with my fiance, and then to after that didn't work out after the mast fell. That was exciting. To a camper van. So you really whittle it down to what you need, and um, you have a simplistic, very minimalistic life. Um, and we've been making it together, but I don't know what I would have done without him, except go to my parents' home, which is hard to do at 40.
Yeah.
So,
Um, we I just made a comment before I brought you on, and I want to know what your thought about it is. That there's really not much uniqueness anymore about people's situations in the way that, look, there's been, 10,000 years of humanity. You know,
Hmm.
somebody has had a similar problem to you in the past.
Oh,
But
I'm sure people.
it doesn't make it any easier, does it? It never makes it any
No,
easier.
it does make it more bearable because you realize that you're not alone and that you're not unique in the situation, and that these things happen all the time to a lot of people. And mental health is a real issue too because keeping a job or um, trying to stay afloat can be hard.
Mhm.
I actually personally have um, bipolar 1, which means that I'm always a go getter, very driven, but I have mania. And so with that, I don't experience too much depression, but I experience a lot of get up and go, which can be, I can utilize it for good. I wrote a song. I don't know if you want to hear it, but um, I'd have to take down my video um, as I read it to you because I don't know it very well. I could put it in the chat if that helps you and me. But it's about me.
Yeah, if you want to send it to us, if you have the video, I can most definitely play it.
Yeah, I can read it to you. It's called Flying Off, and
Yeah,
it's basic.
however you feel like, let's go on ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy it and put it in the chat. So I'll read it to you guys after. I'm gonna paste it. Um, I think that's all I can put in the chat. It's kind of long, so there we go. That's most of it. And then relax my mind. Okay, and this is the rest of it. So if you want to read it, you can, but I'll read it to you too. Um,
Yeah, if you just want to go on ahead and read it for people, that would be great, or perform it however
sure.
you want to do it.
Yeah. It's not yet a song, so I don't have like the music to it yet. But it's
Oh,
called Flying Off. So here goes. Waking up too early, flying off the walls, anxious yet distracted, then there comes the fall. Seeking greater peace, why can't you hear my cry? Finding solace and comfort and release by eating everything in sight. Stress has overcome me, jeans have grown too tight, patience is annoying, I can hardly wait. Talking too much too quickly until suddenly sleep overtakes. Seeking greater calm, will you hear my cries? Inner peace, elusive, breathing deeply as advised. Relaxing my mind and soul, reaching for a higher goal. To a better end, my friend.
that's beautiful. That really is, and it's there's a couple things in there that just really, you know, really catch my attention. The you know flying off the walls, anxious yet distracted. That to me is something that it seems like a lot of us have been in that situation where we're so wound up and we're so anxious about something, yet we can't
Mhm.
accomplish anything because we got our minds, we've got ourselves going different directions trying to get everything done. And I think that that's
Mhm.
one of the really bad parts about people, OCD. uh, I do
Yeah.
have a little bit of the OCD in me. I get
Mhm.
people laugh at me all the time. If I see a pillow that's upside down, it drives me insane. My fiance, she'll do that just to drive me crazy. She'll turn a pillow upside down, and she'll do it, and I'll purposely walk out of the room. But within 2-3 minutes, I'll go back in, and I have to turn it back over. I don't even
Oh
see
yeah.
it today, but I have to do it.
Right.
I get very anxious in certain situations where things just really, really bother me. Things that are not, um, set up correctly or done correctly, and it's difficult, but
Mhm.
that's something that really made me think about that. Of course, the jeans have grown too tight. I know about that one. So,
Yep,
but
yep.
you
Uh,
also you perform music. You
yes,
through church you learned piano, and now you have a piano that you can take around with you.
yes. And I actually learned piano through private lessons. My
Oh, okay.
upbringing was really good, really a great upbringing. I was valedictorian, like things were going so well. And I was married for 11 years, and then it just didn't happen to work. And it's all the time I put into my marriage and all the money that I made kind of didn't matter because it went away, it evaporated. And it's so hard because I worked so hard for that. And I guess what I learned from that was lessons as well as I gained experience in what I actually do, which is AutoCAD. I've been doing that for 18 years, um, but it's interesting to see all of that time just kind of not matter. It's very sad.
It's it's sad, but it's also growth, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
really, a lot of it. For the longest time, I've had um, m- many anger issues.
Mhm.
I've been one of those guys that I for a long time I've flown off the handle at a lot of things. As I've gotten older, um, as I moved away from certain situations, I found myself being able to handle a lot of that stuff better. And
Yeah.
where there's times it's so difficult for me to do it, I still don't find myself being that ranting, raving moron I've been before, because truthfully, the hell good did it do other than make me want to drink? I mean, that's really kind of what it did to me. So, um, what are
Well,
what are some of the things that you struggled with that now you're? This might seem like a weird question, but and I hope you understand it. What are some of the things that you have experienced that were devastating to you, but now you're happy that you went through them because you've learned from them?
um, well, I'm with a better guy. So the divorce was devastating, and I actually wrote a song for my ex as we were getting out of the relationship. Um, and I learned through that song that I was talking to myself, really, not just to him.
Hmm.
And it's called "Be More Than You Know." And do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
The song? Okay. Um, Wishing you with your heart of gold, more love than this life could ever hold. Dream bigger, dream wider, breathe life into your goal. Be more than you know.
It's beautiful. Your voice is beautiful.
Thank you. I love to sing.
So, um, we we're extremely proud to help you, be teaming up with you to help you get your comedy heard, get your music being played, to entertain some people. Can you
Yeah.
tell us really quickly what are some of the things that you would like to? What are some of the opportunities that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to performing for inmates, honestly, as well as for children at libraries. Um, I have been on the receiving end of someone who went to jail, meaning the one I loved went to jail, and he came back, and he was like a therapist to all the people in there because he wore the glasses and he was reading, and everybody's like, we got to go to him for wisdom. And it's really amazing. Um, but just interesting to see all these different life experiences I've had in the past 2 years alone have taught me so much, and I would love to give back through my singing, through my comedy, through piano, but also as a teacher, which I'm hoping to become in a month. Um, I almost have all the paperwork done. Just have to do the fingerprinting, which is no big deal. Um, so I just want to give back, and I think that that's part of my life is to love others as much as they've shown me love, and even more if I can. So just helping people de-stress, to forget about their day-to-day and to just get into a different mindset just for a little bit would really help ease the tension and the anxiety that people have just naturally in their life.
You are located where?
Um, I'm close to the Bay Area, about an hour and a half away in Clear Lake. And I do lift in the Bay Area sometimes, so I don't mind going there or to Sacramento because I can do lift there. So I would love to perform for um, corporate events. I just got my first corporate event today as a comedian of 250 people. So I do very clean comedy. It's good for kids. It's good for anybody. And then the piano is really fun too. So you can check that out on my Facebook at Jana Piano Lady Piano Lady One. That one. Yes, thank you.
So, but
And it
you,
has my comedy too.
yeah, and you can also do events virtually. So people can
Yes.
hire you out virtually from wherever they are. You can perform virtually for anything
Well,
needed.
and I'd love to do like veterans virtual um, to help the people who have served this country, and nurses and hospitals. Like anybody needs a laugh. Um, Patients in hospitals. I know that I usually can't go see them, so a virtual visit would be super fun and worth it to me.
Well, we encourage you to give us a call at 970-909-0751, 970-909-0751. If you'd like to get a hold of Jana and ask her to, hey, we'd like to learn more about you, get a hold of us and we'll connect you to her. Once again, Jana is joining us as a community pay it forward partner. So
Hmm.
that means that anytime that she gets hired on, she's going to allow you to choose somebody to give money to. So this is a great way to not only help the people in your area, your immediate area, your retirement home, your church, your school, your classes. Let's have fun. Let's teach these. Let's entertain some people, and then we can help somebody with her giving us a referral award and us turning that referral award into a donation. So, Jana, I want to thank you very much for meeting with me yesterday and for joining us here on Rediscovering the Happy Place. Do us a favor and
Thank you.
um, give us a story or give us one bit of wisdom that you would like to pass along to people to where they can maybe help rediscover their happy place.
Oh, well, I just want to be able to help those who are homeless, as well as any children who may have been trafficked. And those things are dear to my heart, trying to help them. I don't really know exactly the best way to help them, but for those who are helping those people, I would love to be a part of that. So just putting the word out. Um, and I'm just grateful for this time you've given me, Zach. And please just do call that number. Maybe you throw it up on the screen so they can call it. And thank you for hosting me.
Well, all the information will be listed at our website, communitypayitforward.us/rediscover the happy place. You'll be able to get a hold of Jana. You'll be able to get a hold of us. And we will be releasing Jenna's own pages on the website here in the next coming days. Again, Jenna, we appreciate you joining us today. We're going to be talking here in a minute with a couple of videos of ours, but I did want to let you know that you've done great.
Thank you.
Your first duties with us are a success, and we're very proud to have linked up with you. And I'm glad that I'm extremely excited that you've decided to join our team, and
Thank you.
I can just see things going in a beautiful way. So, but I hope to talk to you again real soon. So, but thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me on the show. Take
No
care.
problem. Goodbye. Uh,
Bye.
we will be right back.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon. My name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, and we're back with another packed short. We're having another segment for our Rebuilding the Happy Place campaign that's been going on for a couple weeks, and we're hot and heavy into it now, trying to find solutions to everyone's problem. Not every mental health issue is the same. Everyone has their own way of dealing with things. Well, this is one way. We've got to find that comfort level dealing with people with their own mental disability, mental illness, and mental hardship. So joining me right now is Bill Willis and David Patrick. Bill, you and I have been talking the last couple of days. You're about ready to be coming on to the Community Pay It Forward program. And you told me about David Patrick and his wonderful program. Why don't you give us a little bit of an idea on what you do first, Bill, and then we'll move on to the introduction of David.
Absolutely. Thanks, Zach. Yeah, my primary business has been in the medical healthcare, especially in the medical cost sharing healthcare business. I've done traditional insurance over the years, but I'm particularly working in the medical cost sharing. And one of the things that has become abundantly clear is that there's a real issue in our nation for mental health. Suicide rates are up, depression, anxiety, all these factors are entering in, not just into the public schools, but the universities, um, nonprofit world, as well as the employer world. And it's something that needs to be addressed. We're at the highest levels we've ever had in those arenas. And National Telehealth Solutions and David's group, I've partnered with because I think they've stepped up and provided programs that meet the needs of these particular areas.
Yeah, David, you're welcome to the program. Can you please tell us what exactly is the National Telehealth Solutions?
We are obviously a telehealth provider. We provide healthcare virtually through several providers. Specifically, as we're on this cast about, is to provide mental health care to a population. We work with school districts, we work with individuals, we work with employers, universities to provide a virtual health care for mental care that provides an access and scalability to folks that a lot of people haven't seen in the marketplace yet. So we're very excited as we continue to roll this out to make this available to a lot of folks.
you guys saw a huge issue with one of the problems, and that's accessibility. And you guys are taking a huge step on, in which there's still a challenge there. We understand that, but you guys are taking a huge step forward. Can you explain what that huge step was and what you guys are trying to do?
Sure. I think part of the difficulty we have with mental health care to this point is the accessibility you mentioned. We have a lot of wait times in our part of the world across the country. So what we were able to do is put this program together where we have kind of a 4-stage program, from digital content, which is very active and thousands of applications for different scenarios, general coaching, counseling, and also licensed care as well as full psychiatry. So I think as we've talked before about it, the key is that we have a triage program that's really never been done well in mental health because of the enormous demand that's on our existing counselors and psychiatrists. The accessibility and the scalability is very difficult. So I think our program, because of the virtual nature and we triage better with the challenges someone have, gives us the ability to really cover a lot more people virtually. And then obviously, as we've talked before, if there's needs for referrals outside of a network or two, physical counseling and psychiatry, those things can be done. But a lot of problems we see in mental care don't necessarily revolve around some of the things we kind of been told and stigmatized over the years. A lot of folks just need somebody to talk to and some good general counseling and good general mentoring and advice, and can help with a lot of the stress and problems they have. The other thing I think, Zach's the key to our programs, that we make our services available to the entire household. And that's very critical as well, especially in some of the different populations we work in, because as we've talked, mental challenges, whether they're severe or just day-to-day stress that we're dealing with, always are going to affect the household, one either back towards or away from. So it's important that I think we provide that access for the household as well.
Yeah, there's never been a case of one person suffering and the rest of the family living happily. That's kind of not the way that it goes. Bill, what led you to wanting to get involved with this program?
Well, in my working with employees of companies and nonprofits, and realizing that this is becoming an issue there, and they're looking for answers. And one of the things we provide in our program is telemedicine. And it's worked very successfully. I talked to people 3 or 4 years ago. We were providing it, but half the people I talked to had never heard of it. With COVID and what it's developed over the last couple of years, now probably the majority of the people know what telemedicine is. And as much as we provide for our members, the one thing that I felt has always been lacking, we do have some mental health portions of it, but it's not to the degree of what National Telehealth Solutions provides. And I've worked out a situation where we can even block our own telemedicine and bring theirs on board to supplement ours. But the main issue is that people need to get help. And there is a stigma sometimes about them walking into an office, especially with a younger person, and not wanting to identify with having a problem. But they still need that issue, whatever it is. It may be very important to us, and it may, or to them, but it may not seem like that much of an important issue to us. But for them, it could be the one thing that just sets them over the edge. And like David said, if we can save one person, that will be a wonderful thing.
Our mission for the next while is to save one life a week. And the reason why we say save one life a week is because you cannot save two until you save the first one. So it's always one, and keep building on that. David, can you say that you guys have a 4-tier program? Can you please explain the 4 tiers?
Yeah, the 4 tiers of our program, we have digital access, which is kind of one of the, it works within the other 3 stages or in the tiers. The second level up from that would be what we call general counseling, mentoring, and coaching. After that level, we have the licensed care, which includes psychology and that kind of thing. And then the full-blown doctor care with the psychiatry level, which, for the advanced cases, that has a capability for prescriptions and ongoing maintenance. Those 2 higher levels are always done on a scheduled basis. Our general coaching and counseling has 24/7 kind of very quick access usually. Sometimes if you have someone in particular you want to deal with, it might take a little time to wait for them. But once we get to that higher level care, it can be, several days out to get scheduled. It's not a 2-hour type turnaround situation like sometimes it is in the other care levels. And I think the thing that's important too is that one of the barriers to accessibility is cost. We do a great job of folks become our members, regardless of what size group that they come from. And then that program in most cases has has zero copays, zero cost, unlimited access, so they can maintain their care at those lower levels. Sometimes some of our programs, you get in higher psychiatric care, there may be a copay involved, but it's a third of what normally is in the marketplace. So very affordable, whether it's for group paying or whoever. And being able to have that access to those staged cares, again, as we've talked earlier, that really helps us with a lot of the triage that's needed in the mental health care arena.
What are some of the things, David, that can help you guys continue this mission? Are you guys looking for additional therapists? Are you looking for people to step up and help you out in any way?
I think the main thing is the exposure. If we go sales 101, our number one objection when we're presenting our program to a potential client is the too good to be true, what am I missing? When you take out the enormous volume of folks that we can have enrolled in our program, it helps us scale as well with the clinicians. And those are obviously we're always looking for and always become part of our network. So we have a lot of folks that want to provide services through our platform. There's obviously, we're pretty strict on our qualifications for what's required for some of the higher level care, some of the general coaching, but most of the stuff we do is going to require a certain amount of degrees. So we're very careful about making sure we have clinicians that are qualified to provide whatever level of care they might be in. As far as us as a company, our biggest challenge, and that's why we team up with folks like Bill, it's just, leverage the multiple networks of people reaching out to people and getting the word out of what we can do is our number one objective. The owners and partners in the company, that's what we do every day, is more exposure, and that pays back a lot of dividends because we're getting out to a lot more people, through a lot more people.
How do these schools and these businesses, these organizations, how did they get a hold of you guys? What did they need to do to try to utilize your services?
Obviously, getting a hold of our agents like Bill is one of the primary access points. Usually in an area, if they reach out to us through one of our sites or one of our connections, we'll refer them back to one of our agents. In this case, with working with you guys, it's going to be reaching out to Bill, and he coordinates those efforts with us, to make sure we get them access to the information they need. All the folks like Bill are, we've got them, they understand our program, they're trained, it's like they're part of us, even though a lot of times we have relationships with independent folks. Very much part of our network and get all the updates when they're needed and know what's going on. So with you guys, he would be the lead on this thing. And if something happened with a lot of connections that it was more than he or his group could handle, we always have people. Bill spend some time with some of our other folks that can step in and help out if something's really catching on fire and going like crazy. So we have complete scalability as a company as well to support Bill and his activities if something gets out of control that he's, in a good way, that he's still very much in charge of and oversees.
Yeah, Zach, you mentioned one of the other things that appealed to me about it is that it is a very affordable program, and it doesn't interfere with any of the other programs that the customer may have, no matter what they are, whether it's a employer group or school or what have you. It's a standalone system that can be in on itself. It doesn't have to be tied into another insurance program or anything else. And in some programs, there's even money available out there in the marketplace to help pay for it through some of the funds that were available through COVID.
Bill, are there incentives for employers too? I mean, and this is crazy for me to say, okay, having to ask if there's an incentive for an employer, because the truth is your employees' mental health should be an incentive enough. Are there incentives right now that the government are giving people to enroll in programs like this?
There may be a part of the funding for the new, I think it was a gun control legislation, was for funding for mental health. And I haven't seen all the outcome from it yet, but it's an affordable program. And the key to the employers is it will help their health in their existing plan and their existing workforce, because people that will get help it'll save them work time. And so it can be an asset to that company just by providing it to help with their their own absenteeism and things like that for sickness and health issues. Dave, you may want to kind of add on to that, but
we talk a lot too, Zach. We're not here to sell on fear or anything like that. But one of the things employers have to look at, and some other groups, is that not having a good comprehensive mental health plan in place. And that's way beyond what's typically available with some EAPs and some other, outside services referring out. We have a lot of HR directors get people in their offices, don't know what to do with them. Having a place for people to have access anonymously, so to speak, is very critical. And we tell employers all the time what you have to start looking at is a liability issue here. If you have a complete comprehensive mental health care program like ours that stands alone, a lot of people won't use a health provider, mental health provider, because it ties to their insurance, or the employer might find out about it. It's now they're in the records with the insurance company. It's going to be a pre-existing condition. We hear all those things all day long. That can be huge liability for an employer if something happens. And with our service, it's going to give them another layer of protection that a lot of times we're talking to legal departments and bigger companies that they're recognizing the need to have this type of access. And then it's, again, as we market our program as a standalone benefit for multiple groups, including nonprofits and that kind of thing. It's a great way to add on to existing benefits, or if employers don't have any benefits, it's a great benefit to add into the programs. So liability is becoming a huge issue for employers with not having access to a good mental health care program. That I think we really fill that gap very well.
Again, it's a little crazy that we have to go that far, that we have to talk about, that these companies have to be convinced to do something like this. I mean, there are situations out there right now that can be prevented if they just get ahead of things. Tell me, guys, and this is kind of a personal question for both of you guys, but Bill, I'm going to start with you. What is one thing that you would suggest if you see someone? What would be something that you would suggest to somebody to seek help? If you see one action, what would you say? You know what? Maybe you need to go and seek help.
Well, that's a difficult question, but
it truly is. But it's one of those things that we need to be a little more aware.
Yeah, I would tell them to start at the entry level, and I would recommend something like this. From the employer standpoint, the employer does not have to contribute to this either. They can, and many do, but it can be very low cost, as I mentioned. And I think the fact that I would recommend somebody that because of the health side of it, the telemedicine side, where they can go on anonymously and get set up. They don't have to make a phone call to a local doctor's office or what have you to get it, or announce it to their employer, as David said, or to their school system or school counselor or whoever. But it's something that they just to talk to somebody. And it's something that they, sometimes a basic conversation can help head off something, and referring them into one of the videos that can lead them through some questions that will help answer their anxiety or their need. But it's a little hard to say other than that, because you don't know whether it's a suicide issue or an anxiety, or just somebody like David mentioned that flunked a test or something. And, maybe some basic conversations can help walk that person through it and realize that if that's the worst thing that happens to them that day, that'll probably be a good thing.
Well, and David, let me go on ahead and switch this question. What kind of reaction are you guys getting with people in general? Are you seeing a lot of success with this?
We are, as I said in the beginning, one of our biggest hurdles to overcome is too good to be true. How can you do this and offer this level of service and this stage and comprehensive care and all the things we talked about for some of the membership points, prices that we're doing it at. But as far as once folks are in, I think the biggest surprise we probably have is how comprehensive our digital program is. I think a lot of people have used that over the years with some of the existing programs, and this is a very advanced digital program that we have to help folks get through those dailies as they're maybe looking towards a session with a counselor or a psychiatrist or whatever. That's a huge part of it. And I think you have to be careful about saying this too loud, but it kind of encourages people to face their mental health challenges head on. And I don't mean just a daily, but the real stuff that's starting to really dig in and bother you, and face them head on. And then quite frankly, I think our program, as it develops more and more, and we've had it out now for about a year, it's also proving that it's teaching folks how to take care of themselves a little better. And I think that's a big part of it, because a lot of the communities we deal with, the populations we deal with, some of the HR directors are just so frustrated, the HR directors, because they just don't, people come in with issues that 25 years ago were not that big a deal, and now they're somewhat overwhelming to them. And the coping skills, as a basic example, are very lacking in a lot of the generations overall. And those type of things, just teaching those can help a lot with, downfield issues. So I think that's a big part of it. The reception's been great. Once you get over that kind of first hurdle of something, I must be missing something here, and then they experience the program. It's kind of like one of those deals with the puppy dog. Once you play with it for a couple of days, you've got them as a customer, and that's what we're seeing pretty consistently.
I think that frustration with HR departments, it's, there's got to be a different level of tolerance, because there's so many different, this is part of the movements that are nowadays. Everything is being retaught in different ways, and you got to take everybody's thoughts into consideration, which is something we should have always been doing. But now it's become so very important, because look, differences are here, and we need to respect people. So, gentlemen, I greatly appreciate this. David, one more time, how do people get a hold of you guys?
I'll give you my information, and then I can get a hold of David. There'll be a connection on my website. I'm just developing it now for specific areas. So when we get set up, there will be a connection there to link to for more information. But that would be the main. I would be the main touch point, and then I'll bring whoever I need to into it. And again, back to your question before, I think one of the things that it seems like most people need is to know that they're not alone and facing things alone, and that there is help there, and they can get it privately, and they're it gets rid of that stigma that they sometimes feel like they're facing.
Bill, I would like to thank you very much for introducing us to David and introducing us to this wonderful program. David, I would like to thank you very much for your time on joining us.
Thank you.
We hope to see you guys again on August 15th. Hey, everybody, this is just one more of the groups that are out there. This is just one more program that's out here. If you know of a program who's out here trying to help us navigate this difficulty of mental health, we encourage you to please give us a call, 970-909-0751. 970-909-0751. We want to hear about it. We want to let people know about it, because you know what they don't know is hurting them. So let's make sure that we get everything out and very clear to people. We're here. We want to help. All right. Again, David, Bill, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. And you guys keep up the great work. Okay.
Zach, thank you for what you're doing as well. We appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Zach.
Hey folks, I'm Chip Wynn. Hey folks, Chip Wynn Motors, Chip Wynn Classic Cars, right here in Paducah. Today I want to tell you about something dear to my heart. Near and dear to my heart. Project Die Hard. Now what is that? That is an organization set up to help our veterans who transition from military life back into civilian life, and to help them do it in a healthy way. We need your support. We need your help. We need your financial help. What we're going to do is the weekend of July 28th, 29th, and 30th, we're going to have a massive celebration and a fundraise for Project Die Hard. Even Saturday, July the 30th, we are going to have a classic car show. Not only our cars will be in it, but the public will be invited to participate as well. Now is the time to step up and support a really worthy organization. Project Die Hard. Come on and join us.
How's it going, everybody? Zach Clayton, founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels, sitting here with a really good new friend of mine, Mike Van Pelt from True Man Life Coaching. Mike, how you doing today?
Man, I am fantastic. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad we get an opportunity to chat about what you're doing and what I'm doing and how we can marry these things together.
Well, this, we just want to first and foremost thank you for helping us rediscover the happy place. And let's make sure that we're giving people your information, and that way they can, instead of making that end of life decision, maybe they'll come and talk to you and make a true decision that's better for them and their family. Mike, tell me a little bit about True Man Life Coaching.
So True Man Life Coaching really developed out of it's kind of a life body of work, as it turns out. Really, I mean, what a journey it's been on. You know, I tell people that developing this was a collision of my business life and my personal life coming together. So I took what I had gained out of business and said, you know, how do I make a business and work for myself and be able to impact people. And so my general purpose is to make an impact on the life of men for good. And I do that through True Man Life Coaching. And the reason that I came about this, quite honestly, was, as I mentioned, my own journey. It was a spiritual journey. It was me getting very actively involved in men's small group and having, you know, these discussions that I wasn't having with really anybody, let alone men, in an intimate setting. And it really caused me to go deep with myself and really dig in and work on some of the internal wounds that I've been carrying around with, you know, inside of me. And that's what us men, we're really good at. Like, we just bury stuff hoping that we never have to deal with it. And, you know, guys, that can lead to a life of misery. And what I always tell guys is, don't walk around with this stuff. Figure out a way to find somebody to talk to channel some of that stuff that you buried deep down inside with you, deal with it, and work through it. And then you can begin to have the life that you really want. And, you know, the minute that I dealt with some of that stuff and pushed it aside, then I realized, you know what? I've got the knowledge, skills, and ability to be a great resource for men. And I would want to come walk alongside them and help them on their journey when, you know, they may need it most. I want to take great people and make them even better. Let's go to the next level. And that's the whole goal with my coaching. I do a lot of one-on-one work with people, just try to help them go to the next level and be the people that they want to be the man that they want to be the husband that they want to be, and to be the father that they want to be.
That's what I do. This, yeah, there you go. You started this, and there was a religious aspect in this at the beginning, but then you decided to go on ahead and, while you're still using your religious learnings, your religious teachings and everything, you're not focused on religion during this coaching, are you?
No, I mean, here's how I approach it, Zach, and it's a good question, and it's one I get a lot. I approach faith, and some people use the term, you know, spirituality. I use that as much as somebody wants to use it. Now, you know, I'm not one of these guys that's going to, you know, throw Bible verse zingers at you, hoping it attaches. The reality is, when you're talking about personal growth, when you're talking about values and goals and morals and ethics, it's hard to leave the spiritual factor out of it. But, you know, I bring it up as much or as little as somebody wants. And, you know, I have guys that'll say before we go on a coaching call, will you pray for me? Will you pray for me afterwards? Yeah, I'll do that. Not everybody wants that. Not everybody's comfortable with that. And I get it. You know, I know what impact that has had on my life. And listen, I've been a Christian all my life. It really wasn't until I got involved in more intimate men's stuff where I really began to come alive. Okay. So I encourage it, but I would never force it on anybody. That's a choice that somebody has to come to. And honestly, that's part of personal growth and the progression that people take, the journey that we go on.
You know, you and I, we actually had a conversation about that where I have a belief that there's a lot of times that men don't like to do the religious, you know, man meetings and stuff like that, because there's almost a commitment to them.
Yeah.
And so that makes it a little more, structure. I don't want to say structured, but well, commitment. I mean, it just puts more of a commitment on it. And of course, we as men, we hear that word commitment and we're like,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And I've said this to people that tell me that they don't believe in Jesus Christ. The beautiful part is whether you are a believer or you're not a believer, God believes in you. He
Yep.
believes in you. He wants an intimate relationship with you, whether you want it or not. That in and of itself is beautiful. It's amazing. God loves you whether you love him or not. And, I can tell you from personal experience and from many of the people that I talk to, when you love him back, it's even better, man. That's icing on the cake. Now, that's a personal decision that somebody has to make. Everything in life is a decision. You get to decide one way or another. You get to decide whether today's a positive day or a negative day. You get to decide, whether you want to take the next steps to be the person you want or whether you don't. Everything's a decision. I, of course, encourage people to make positive decisions. And that's what we try to work through, in the coaching program, is that we're touching on things to help you become a better person. I can't imagine why anybody would want to work with a coach if that wasn't their end goal.
What is one of the things that men that you've noticed when a man comes to you and is asking you for, maybe not even asking you for help, but asking you to listen? Because we know that that's one of the things that, that we have to do more of if we're going to change mental issues. We have to learn how to listen a little bit more. What is one of the first things that you always go, well, here we are hearing it again? What's one of the first things that you hear?
Well, listen, men, we like to be problem solvers, first of all. And so typically, if a guy comes in and he says, and I'm just making an analogy, I need to loosen the screw, over here on this window frame. Oh, well, here's a screwdriver, right? We always have an answer to the problem. And what I have found is that when guys have stuff, especially the stuff that they buried deep down inside, they don't want you to come fix it right away. And a lot of guys have never had another man listen to them ever. A lot of guys didn't, either their father wasn't present at all or just wasn't present because he didn't know how to father. And, so a lot of guys have never gone through the experience of having a father-son relationship or having another man in their life to talk to. And so honestly, I think a lot of initially what I try to do with people is, one, know that they can be comfortable with me, that it's a trusted environment. They can say as much or as little, but what I've seen happen over time is it's about the work that, nobody wants to talk about work, right? The bottom line is you get out of, coaching what you put into it. But I try to give people a comfortable place where I'm going to listen and not solve their problems. Honestly, we all have the ability inside of us to solve our own problems. Sometimes it requires just working through, step A or step B, and, oh, that reveals this. Oh, that's how I get to here. We're connecting dots. And so I try to connect the dots. And here's another thing, and I think this is really important. And this is something I have had to learn, right, the hard way. I always ask permission to help somebody. If I feel like they're asking me a question, I will ask permission if they want my opinion. on it. And I think that that's out of respect. And I don't want them to have the feeling of, oh, this guy's just trying to fix me, you know? And so, you know, I try to be respectful of each individual. And listen, a lot of times I find that guys, they just want to talk. They really do just want a safe place to talk. And once they get that feeling, you know, that it's safe, a lot of guys they'll break down and talk. And that's a lot of it.
On the other side of what you said is that guys are not used to having another man listen to them. How much of that, Mike, is we don't talk? We don't want to talk to another man. We don't want to talk to, we don't want to talk to anybody about it because, like you said, we've got our screwdriver inside and we know how to fix it. We just don't, I don't know if it's because we're always looking for validation. Well, you know what you need to do. Well, maybe it'll be helpful if Mike tells me what I need to do.
Well, I mean, you got a couple things working on most guys, and I've experienced it. Most of us have pride and shame, and for some reason, we will, we don't want to let somebody know something out of, because we have too much pride, or there's too much shame around it. And, what happens is the end result of carrying that around and not telling anybody or not taking action on it is it'll open up a big wound. It'll open up a big wound deep inside of you. And, you carry that around. And, so what spills out of that? Well, the number one thing I hear guys talk about is anger. Anger, right? Well, I'm angry. Well, why are you angry? And a lot of times it's because they've kept stuff buried. And, and some of it's horrific. Let's face it. There's a lot of trauma that goes on in people's lives. A lot of it occurs when they're young. There's a lot of trauma before the age of 7 and 8. And when that happens at 7 and 8, you stick it in your unconscious mind. And guess when it shows up? When you show up in the adult world, and you're trying to figure everything out. And so shame and pride really get in the way here. And I really encourage people, and I know it's hard. I battle this every day myself, so I know what I speak. You got to put those aside. You just have to put them aside sometimes and really go to work on yourself. That's, the couple of the biggest things that I see.
And you can't force somebody to do this, can you?
Nope.
They have to be 100% willing to open up, because somebody, and they truly have to be ready to do this. There can be somebody who comes to you and sits in one session and it just becomes a BS session rather than a learning session.
And here's the thing. Yeah. So I treat this differently. I'm not a counselor. I'm a coach. And there are some big differences between counselors and coaches. One of the big differences is I'm going to give you homework. We're going to go to work. If you come to me, we are going to WORK. We're going to do some work. We're going to do some homework. Some people don't want to do work. You don't want to do work. You're not for me. I don't, and I, that may sound harsh to some people, but trust me, what you get out of it could change your life. Now, if you don't want your life changed, or you just want to pretend that you have all the answers. I talk to a lot of guys. I talk to a lot of business owners. I've talked to some amazingly successful people. I haven't had anybody yet tell me they got there on their own. And I'm talking about multi-millionaires, successful people. I haven't had anybody tell me they got there on their own. Somebody along the way influenced them, mentored them, fathered them, helped teach them, helped coach them, helped consult with them. And that's the way it is. Listen, I tell everybody, Zach, I have a golf coach. I do a podcast. I have a podcast coach. My doctors are my health coaches. I have a faith-based coach. Man, I don't mess around. Why? I'm trying to be the very best person that I can be. And every day is a battle. That's another aspect to this that we have to understand, is that every day you get out of bed, the battle starts over again. The battle between good and evil. And here again, you have a choice. You want to win the war? You got to figure out how to fight. And that's what I help guys do, is figure out how to fight. Not physically, by the way.
Yeah. What's the easiest way for you to tell somebody you are not alone?
I was just at a networking event this morning, and I was talking with a wonderful lady who's doing some stuff around fatherlessness, strangely enough, right? She was her father was murdered when she was 7 years old. She never really knew the guy. And so this has become, as you might imagine, it showed up in her adult life. And, now she sees what's going on, with fatherlessness and fathers not being present. She's trying to make a difference. And we were talking today, and I said to her, I'm like, the challenge with most people is they think that their, whatever the it is, whatever the challenge is, whatever's wrong with them is unique. It's not. It's unique to you, but it isn't anything that, hasn't been dealt with or can't be overcome. And so you're not alone. And, you're alone if you want to be alone, and that's the big thing. There are options. And I tell people all the time, listen, I'm outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm building a pretty good network here. I've only been here a year, meeting a lot of great people. But like just in men's small group, I'm affiliated with some people that have a national presence. So I don't care whether you're in New York or California or wherever, I can call somebody and we can try to figure out how to plug you into a group. Even if you even if somebody doesn't use me for coaching, I don't care. I just want to see you be successful. And I think one of the first things we could do is plug you into a group of people so that you can see your problem isn't unique to you. There are people walking around with the same challenges, everywhere, and so I think it's about exposure to just meeting people and hearing stories. That's why I do the podcast, by the way. And that's why you do have this channel, because these stories need to be told. You need to hear these stories, and I can't get them out fast enough. About people overcoming and achieving a comeback story, or achieving something where they had a pivot point in their life and they went down road Y, and now they're successful. That's why I do the podcast, so that these stories can be told and heard.
Yeah, see, that's and I greatly appreciate you saying that, because you're right. These stories must be told. These stories have to be put out there for people to hear. We can only do that one part. You have to listen. You have to choose when to listen, and you have to learn how to participate. And we can be there for people, but if they're not there for themselves, they're not going to be here. Us being there is not going to do them any good, is it? They really have to be there for themselves.
I always laugh. This is about the simplest way to explain, I think, to explain this. So if you've ever been on an airplane, you hop on an airplane, and every airplane you get on, the steward or the stewardess gets up in front of you, and they go through their list of things that'll happen on the plane. And so you get the same speech every time. If the plane loses altitude and the airbag drops from the ceiling of the cabin, make sure you put your mask on first before you help your neighbor. Why? Easy, simple. If you're passed out in your seat, you can't help anybody else. So you have to help yourself first. So then you can turn around and help other people. And I love that analogy because, you know, you could go into a marriage, and if you got a bunch of garbage buried and you're angry and you're upset, at some point, that's going to come back and kick your butt. And that's part of the reason why I think the divorce rate is 51% in this country. I mean, half the people that get married are going to get divorced. And I'm not pointing the finger at anybody, but the point is that we all as human beings carry around a lot of trash that we never work on. And it shows up in relationships, and it shows up in the relationships we have, whether it's your marriage or your boss at work or, you know, any other relationship that you have. And that's why self-awareness is important. And you gain self-awareness by reading, by learning, by being coached, by being around people that have experienced life. And, you know, that's why I do what I do, so that I can help people understand that better.
Your analogy about the airplane is one that is really, you know, it's such a smart, such a smart thing to tell people, but it's also, to me personally, it's something that really does bring on a modicum of hope.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that would rather put that mask on somebody else first, you know?
Yeah, and I get it. I get that.
But that just, it really does. It brings out a feeling of, oh my God, there are good people out there. Because they would rather put that on to somebody else first. But, you know, it is so important that, you know, you can put it on yourself.
I look at it this way, because I totally get what you're saying. I mean, you know, I'm a help first. I want to help people first. And so I get that. Here's the thing. If you put your mask on first, you might be able to help 20 people. Or if you go for the guy next to you, that might be the last guy you help.
Yeah.
If you do, you know, and so it's important. The other thing too, here's another analogy. Just generally speaking, what I see specifically for men, we're horrible at asking for help. We're horrible about asking for help. I was recently at a retreat, and it was an event where there were, I don't know, about 20 some guys. And so they were going to do a rope course. So we take them in the gym. We don't show them the rope course before they go to the rope course. We take them in the gym.
Story, by the way. I love this.
We take them in the gym. We blindfold them, and they get immediate instructions. Okay, we're going to take you out to the rope course. You have to find your way out, you know, and but we only have 3 instructions. Okay, when you get to the rope course, you have to keep your mask on at all times. You have to keep one hand on the rope at all times. And if you have any questions or need any help, we need you to raise your hand. And so with that, we march them out to the ropes course. Everybody gets their hand on the rope, and they start going around in circles. And periodically, the guide would stop and say, here are the instructions again. If you keep your blindfold on, keep one hand on the rope, and if you need any help, please raise your hand. Well, finally, after about 10 minutes, one gentleman finally caught on to the game, and he raised his hand. And so the guide pulled him to the center and said that was the only way you were going to get out, and proceeded to tell the group, we have one man out. Please keep your blindfold on, keep your one hand on the rope, and if you need any help, just raise your hand. Well, raising your hand was the only way to get out of the ropes course. The only way, you know, and I think we were probably 20, 25 minutes in before the last guy finally put his hand up in the air. That's also a dude I want fighting for me, despite the fact he was the last one, because there's no give up in that guy. But the whole point of it is that guys, we have to put up our hand in the air and ask for help. And what I have found is this: when I put my hand up in the air and I ask for help, amazingly enough, somebody's there to help me every single time. This journey I've been on as an entrepreneur has been one of the most incredible journeys I've ever been on. Even this morning, as I was talking about, I was at this networking event. I met two people I've never met in my life that I can honestly tell you right now we'll probably be friends for the rest of our lives. And you may go, well, how do you know that? You just met these people 3 hours ago. Listen, I've been around the block, and when you're on the same page with somebody and you have the same mission, I mean, you just know you're going to figure out a way to work together and help each other get what you want. And that's how life works. Because again, you have a choice. You can go curl up in the corner and not raise your hand,
Right. And conversations, you don't know how good they can be for you until you have them. And, one of the things that I like to tell people is, you know what? Even loners need somebody. Even a loner needs somebody, because nobody goes throughout life doing it all on their own.
No, and I'll say this. This is going to surprise a lot of people when they hear me say this. I'm fairly introverted. Now, I've figured out how to work with it. I know when I need my downtime away from people. But for many years, being introverted, I didn't put my hand in the air and ask questions. Because one of the things that happened to me, believe it or not, I was 5 years old, 1975. I just gave my age away. When I had to get my first pair of glasses, which was unusual back then. And what happened almost immediately was two things. One, of course, you have to have one guy bully you because you're 4 eyes all of a sudden. The other thing that happened really affected me. Because I was wearing glasses, everybody thought I was smart, because smart people wear glasses, right?
Thank God. Oh,
yeah, I know. That makes us brilliant, Zach. And so here's what happened. I didn't like having that label. And as a result of that label, I was already somewhat introverted. I closed off and I did not ask questions. I didn't ask questions growing up because I didn't want somebody to go, well, I thought he was smart. And I didn't want somebody to go, wow, that guy's stupid. And so I stopped asking questions. And it's really been in my adult life where I've understood that. Now, the beautiful part is now I do a podcast where you don't have much of a podcast if you don't ask good questions. And I love it. It's kind of been, I don't want to say that I haven't always asked questions, but I'm finding such intense pleasure in being curious, which is the other side of this, because I always encourage people, just be curious. You'll be shocked at the end result of being curious and asking questions. And so it's been a great journey. But as you can tell by me talking here today, I've gone on a personal journey to understand all this stuff so that I can be the best possible person that I can be. Because if I'm the best possible person I can be, I can help somebody else. And I take intense delight in that.
Yeah. Well, I always think that if you go through a day where you don't learn anything, you have a wasted day. I mean, we need to be curious. We need to learn something new, be open to things. Mike, how do people get a hold of you? And when is your podcast? When does your podcast air? Where can they find it?
So you can send me an email. You can reach out to me at mike@truemanlifecoaching.com. And that's my website too, truemanlifecoaching.com. I'm on all the major podcast channels, but if you can't remember that, then just remember truemanpodcast.com. That takes you directly into my website. You can give me a call, 864-266-2058. Man, I'm open. all the time. So you can send me a text and just say, hey, let's line up an appointment. But, you know, I'm an open book. You can go out to my website, check out what's there. The podcast drops every Monday. We've been doing it for a year. I talk about a wide range of topics to help men be better men, to be better fathers and better dads. And we just talk about all kinds of stuff. And, you know, hopefully, you know, reach out to me. That's all. It's all I can tell you. I'm open to having an initial call with somebody. Sometimes I'm a good fit. Sometimes I'm not. But, you know, I'm always open to having that question. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. That's what I do. I mean,
you'll never know if you're not a good fit if you don't reach out. So Mike, do me one last favor. Give us all just one bit of advice. What would you do to start a conversation with somebody who's really struggling in a moment?
How can I help? You know, I feel like I just simplified something way too much, but I mean, honestly, I know what it feels like to hurt. I know what it feels like to be angry. I know what it feels like to be sad and depressed. And I know what it feels like to be lonely. And, you know, it's hard to see somebody go through that walk. And, you know, in those instances, I just want to know how I can help. Do you just want me to sit here with you? Do you want me to talk to you? You want me to sing a song? You want me to do a dance? I don't know. But, you know, my goal is just to be an instrument of healing for somebody. And so I want to give you what you want in that moment. And that may not even be me. I mean, you know, that could be, we need, you know, again, I'm not a counselor. Do you need intense therapy sessions with somebody? Is there a way we can get you help? I mean, you know, it goes back to that word help. And, you know, if you just reach out and ask, man, there's so many resources out there.
Well, you know, you may have a fear that that was simplifying it, but I think that was the perfect answer. You just got to ask. I mean, you can't, if you don't ask, they can't answer. If they're afraid to ask, then, you know, then it's not going to do any good. You know, as we all know, look, you know, the thing is are you ready to listen? Because if you're not ready to listen, you know, don't tell them you are. You know, be there, be open, and be ready, because what you hear is might not be pretty. It might be hard to hear, but
sometimes it needs to be. You know, I mean, these things aren't always pleasant. And, you know, there are times in my life where I look back and really what I needed, not a softball approach. I needed somebody to grab me by the collar and go, snap out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and now, you know, would that have changed me in that moment? I don't know. But I reflect back on it, and that's really what I needed. I didn't need the softball approach. So, you know, I approach everything very heartfelt, very caring, you know, and, but sometimes people need to hear it. And I, you know, I've been in that position, so I get it.
Yeah. And if you're afraid to speak, you know, just remember the thing that you're afraid to see might be what they need to hear. So, you know, you never know. Thank you, Mike, for joining us today. I appreciate you helping us through this. You'll be able to find all of Mike's, all of his information, everything about him on our webpage, communitypayitforward.us/rediscover the happy place. Okay. We're going to have all of Mike's information so you can get a hold of him, so you can reach out to him. This is just one of the very, very many ideas that we're throwing out here to make sure that you're aware of everything that is out there for people who need help, whether that's you, whether that's someone you know. As Mike and I were just talking about, if you're not if it's not out there, people can't use it. If you don't tell them, they don't know. So let's make sure people know. Again, Mike at Mike Van Pelt from truemanlifecoaching.com. Reach out to him anytime. Check out his show every Monday. Thank you very much, my friend, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Outstanding. I enjoyed our talk. Thanks for having me on.
I do too. And I'll tell you, you and I need to talk a little bit more. You know, our conversations tend to go a little bit longer than they're supposed to, but they're always a good time. So, you know,
I enjoyed it.
Really
Thank you.
So, but thank you guys very much. And please make sure you keep watching right here on the PAC channel, going to communitypayitforward.us/ rediscover the happy place, because we've got a lot of great information. We've got a lot of great people who are trying to help you. And please, if you have any questions, give us a call 970-909-0751, 970-909-0751. We've got all these connections. We've got them written down. We know how to get you to them. So please don't be afraid to ask, because we're not afraid to tell you about it. So my name's Zach, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care. I'll see you next time. Thanks. A lot of great information again today. Whoa, what is going on there?
The January 6th committee hearing this afternoon,
background
the 7th public
thing
meeting,
disappeared.
ended with a dramatic
Shush, lady,
revelation.
don't talk
Vice
no
Chair
more.
Liz Cheney.
Go away. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, we did go over a little bit longer than what we wanted to, but as I promised, we're going to go as long as we need to for this mission. Rediscovering the happy place is not going to be easy. There's not one answer to anything. You just heard a couple people who were telling you about different things. I want to thank Jenna Lynn Kelly, the comedian who joined us in our first hour, the first half hour. Then I want to thank Bill and David from National Telehealth Solutions. Wonderful program that, you know what, companies, get with it. Your employees' mental health is probably one of the most major things that you need to watch out for. And then thank you, Mike Van Pelt from True Man Life Coaching. Great things there. So what did we discover today? All right, look around. Somebody somewhere is a success story. What you're going through, they've been through it. They've gotten through it. They can be a success story. They can be an inspiration for who you are. Forget the stigma. I loved when they were talking about this. Young people, don't worry. Don't let your pride get in the way of your health. People may razz you for going to seek help, but are those the people you really want to be around anyway? Take care of yourself. You're all you have. It's you. All right? So don't let your pride get in the way of your health. I like this one. Smart guys wear glasses. Yeah. So do I. And one of the ways you can start the conversation, how can I help? My name is Zach Clayton, the president and founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels that you're watching. We're asking you to please come with us and help us rediscover the happy place. We need to find solutions. We need to find conversation starters. We need to learn what to watch for. You can join us by giving us a call, 970-909-0751, 970-909-0751. You can also reach me by reaching out to my link tree. Just go to linktree.com/Zach Clayton and you will get me. And please remember, all of these videos can be found at communitypayitforward.us/rediscover the happy place. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen, if you need the services of anyone that you've seen, please 970-909-0751. We will get you in touch with who you've seen. We will get you in touch with who you've heard. It's important to make sure that you can rediscover the happy place. My name is Zach Clayton. Please love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. Make sure that you understand that if you're not helping somebody, you're hurting everyone. Nobody has to go it alone when we all come together. Please get a hold of us, 970-909-0751. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you'd like to find out more about the program. Community Pay It Forward, come together. Let's change this world. We have the ability. Let's do it together. Have a great day. I'll talk to you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home. Out alone, show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.